Danny. Did it say Newton on the wedding photo too? I only saw Danny. Courtney and Danny together forever. Courtney Watts. It didn't have the last name there, right? Right, so this is alright. No, yeah, I didn't have the. I didn't remember it. That's what I was looking for. Anyway. Okay, so. Kashi is right? She works in a department store, as was said. Nurse, that's fine, that's fine. Alright, so who are the other Roottrees? Retail? Is there retail? There's retail. That's better, maybe. We don't know what she does there. She just is in the department store. Alright, so I'm convinced that Courtney Watts is legit now. I'm convinced that David Fellows, Dirt Day Davy, 5-Piece, Felix Fellows is not a Roottree. I think that Min Lang is a Roottree because of the Chinese flavor harsh payment. I'm convinced that Flavio Zoresh is legit because of the caviar harsh payment monthly fee thingy. Then the twins make sense to be legit too. And then that's the double payment. The timeline works out for that. And he also already paid her $250,000 before that. But maybe there was no like harsh money. Maybe that's, you know, maybe that was her to, maybe that was like to convince her to have something to have to pay harsh money for, you know. Anyway, who knows? 5 possible Rootrees left. Okay. I believe that he's legit. I don't have proof. I have no more intuition though, so I don't know how we find more things that we're missing still. Because we're still missing 2 clues for Min Lang, and we're missing 1 more for Courtney May Watts. Like we could, like we just found her name. There could be more. There's also still more, 3 more David Fellows things, which is crazy if you ask me. So if you go by the payments, Caviar is Brazil, that's done. Shigua is China, that's done. Those are the twins, those are done. Then we have strawberry, butterscotch, and that's it. Those 2 to account for. So it would be a total of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. For Guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. And she did get money, right? So that's 5. So 1 more. So 1 of these 2. Because obviously, yeah, these have no harsh money payments from Guy because they're not his affairs. So who was when for these 2? That's what we need to figure out. So we have where's the there chef signature. Robert is 3 years younger than James. There's no way. So the first child is the illegitimate one. So James is the Roottree. And then Robert is not. Because she got pregnant, they moved away. There's no way 3 years later she had another child with Guy. And I think he was dead 3 years later too. Actually, I don't know. That was like early on in the things. There might have been just enough time, but like I don't think that's what happened. Because like what's her name? I looked at it and immediately forgot it again. Christine Farrow, right? And then Garland. Yeah, 78, no longer working for Roottree. And he died in May 82. I guess it would have been enough time. But she left pregnant, probably. So it might not have been... not legitimately, anyway. So I'm confident that this is right. And this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's fake. She's legit because she's like the story they store and the DNA results they store to make Felix seem legit. Like the hair or whatever. 3 possible Rootrees left to identify. Where? How? What? Stuart Clementine. I don't know that makes sense though. It would be so much easier if you had like dates, like no, Mary Beth is what I wanted. If you had like dates of birth, because then like timelines would be so much easier. If I could just see this guy was born in, you know, whatever, and then she was with the Rootrees in 49, and then like that rules it out. It would be so much easier. But no, I don't know. She adopted 2 children in the late 1940s, Stuart and Mark. I don't know. But it might have just been a cover twice, because she was twice divorced, so maybe she was divorced and then didn't want to have like a child out of wedlock and then pretended that Stuart wasn't her child and adopted them instead, and then did the same for Mark again. But we don't know, I don't know. But I don't think he's one. Are we good with that? I don't know. 2 possible Rootrees. What? Wait, these 2 are not legit? There are 11 missing clues. I never really looked into Robbie and Ronald again because there was no reason for it. How would they not be legitimate Rootrees? Like they were her kids. Like she's a legitimate Roottree. Like even if she had an affair, it doesn't matter. She's the Roottree. Like if she didn't birth them, then maybe. But that's, I don't know how it would like... They have to be legit, right? I don't know. How is there more on these 2? Clark. Clark's gonna marry again. I lost Jacob and Gwyn divorced Wild Bill just before she had her second. I don't think I can blame her for that. But even if they divorced because she was pregnant from another man, she's the Roottrie. It doesn't matter. I don't know. All right. I guess we're looking into Ronald and Robert Roottree again. Was it like that? Robert Roottree was released from French prison after serving a few years for assault. His embezzlement and the rest were partially featured in 6 pieces, as Robbie's participation in the Cancer Trust was a key piece of evidence in Sam's favor, and have since become much more publicly infamous. He's not yet returned to the United States, but when journalists reached out to him recently after the death of his mother, he had issued a blanket statement a few days ago. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending time together caring for her and mourning, I finally made amends. It was a highly transformative few weeks when it came to a relationship. I'm in recovery from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. Man, I don't know. That's crazy. I don't know why we're like investigating these. Like the fact that we're investigating them makes me think they're not legit, but how could they not be legit? Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottree rift about what really happened with Roottree. The article mentions that nobody from Roottree that they reached out to was willing to go on the record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and the source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. The timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottree died, but before the release of 6 pieces, and decided they wanted Ron Roottree to take over because of his experience. It was just Ron, not Ronnie. Of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was a well-known and well-respected Roottree. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the Cancer Trust to remove Robbie Roottree. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When 6 pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released a press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch's source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the Cancer Trust, and they eventually let him go. After that, the roar passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. Yeah, Ron was announced as president of Roottree during the Roottree rift, but the next press release immediately reversed that announcement and instead stated that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of resorts about this development, but most articles are retelling of basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. We read that just now. Ron has also done some interviews saying that the truth of what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday. 3 weeks ago, Ron's mother Quinn died in Paris, France. He and his brother Robbie have seemingly made amends. Gwyn Roottree was a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 50s. Her biggest role was in the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She died in Paris, France about 3 weeks ago after leaving Hollywood. She made no effort to stay in the limelight, and most obituaries tend to focus on the largest role, Guys Like Us. Not much is known about her death, except that it was announced that she died peacefully in her sleep while being treated for a sudden severe case of pneumonia. Before that, she had apparently been in relatively good health, according to her friends and family in Paris. She was 67. Maybe they'll link to Ruby Spread, maybe. I'm still confused why we're investigating these two. where we find like 9 more pieces of evidence. That's crazy. Was Gwyn a proper Roottrie? I mean, like, according to everything, like, we don't know much about Margolite. But again, she's it's also the mother, right? Like, it's not the father was the Roottrie, the mother, and then the mother again. So that makes it impossible. I guess, like, Margolite could have been, like, Gwyneth could have had an affair. But that would have been in the 1920s, like, I don't know, even earlier than that, I don't know. That's, like... But the only way that Gwyn is not... Like, the only way these two are not Roottries is if Gwyn is not a Roottree, which is only possible if Margolite is not a Roottree, which is only possible if Gwyneth Anderson, Nee Anderson, Gwyneth Roottree later on, after her marriage, had an affair, you know, 80 years ago. Which, how am I gonna find that out? With no intuition on anything, right? No. You got nothing. More about Gwyn Roottree. But it's not gonna be, like, this is old, that can't be anything new. I don't know. Team Brass is not gonna have anything about her. She's not, like, relevant. The County Times, nothing new. I don't know. And there's not gonna be anything for Ron either, right? Like, the business watches, we've seen that. Like, I mean, like, it seems like such a obvious, like, tell that, like, the fact that I'm investigating this means that there is something up with them. Well, I don't even know where to start. Gwyneth. Because, I mean, it is possible, like... Because if Elias had an affair with Bess Williams, like, it's not out of the question that maybe Gwyneth also had an affair. And that would make this entire line of Roottrees not Roottrees. But how would we go about proving that? And then, like, these don't matter because they're dead. They don't live anymore, so they don't get any more money. So it doesn't matter if they're legitimate or not. And we can't really DNA test them very easily. But these two are alive, so it matters for them. But the thing is, like, they're either both Roottrees or they're both not Roottrees, unless one is adopted. Then it's not a blood relative. I don't know. This is annoying. This is annoying. Where do we look for for more stuff on Braun and Rob though? Robbie. Ruby? Almost. Nothing in news time. Nothing in Picardy. It feels like Picardy would have something, but no. But where do I get more info? It's like crazy. And I can't like search all periodicals at once, right? That would be nice. So nothing in the County Times. It's not a chef. He didn't go to Mid-Eastern. He's not in Miami in the 1920s. None of these make any sense to look through, but I don't know what else to look for. Maybe look for Margolite. I don't think there's gonna be anything online though. Did I even spell it right? Yes. She's too early. You have to dip out of the break if there's going to be a break. Yes. I have a friend in need of company. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. So what you're saying is I have 8 minutes to figure this out. I'm doing my best. But there's nothing like. How do we find anything? Because there's so much left too. Like we need 8 more things. That's insane. The thing is, like, none of this matters. Like, Wild Bill Williams, her father being actually named Cornwall, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the irritating part, is that, like, yeah, like, the Wild Bill Walter Forsyth had actually had affairs, but it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Because he's not a Roottree. Ruby is sus. Like, Ruby's, like, you know, like, we have, like, that's proof. But, like, these are, like, I can't really investigate Margolite or Gwyneth very easily. And even Gwyn is hard. But like none like if they are not Roottrees, then it's not like about them. So like looking for them online doesn't like make sense. It's not gonna give us anything. We need to look like back some generations, but I don't know how. I don't know how. Lions Cornwall. Nothing there. None of these make sense. These are too new. She's not from Portland. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Brother Travers, the sitcom, but that's not. None of that's gonna lead us anywhere. I hate it. I need something. I don't know where to go. Tim had been in the news for his addiction both before and after the death of his wife, Raina. 2 months ago, he very publicly went into rehab. Since then, however, he has been seen in public a few times and appears to be doing better. He hasn't appeared in any new movies in the last 8 months and has rarely appeared anywhere of note. Comedian Penelope Tessa Green was part of a recent fundraiser at the Reno Comedy Club, the Love Lounge, about a month ago. The fundraiser was called The Best Medicine and was to help find a cure for Huntington's disease. According to the website, she released a statement. Up until recently, I didn't know anything about Huntington's. In the last few months, I've gone from knowing nothing about it to learning more than any one person should ever have to. Until less than a decade ago, it was impossible to predict if someone was susceptible to Huntington's had the disease. But due to advances in medicine, tests have been developed. Hopefully, this increases awareness in the first step. Hopefully this increased awareness is the first step into finding a cure. Please join me for a night of comedy for a good cause. So who has Huntington's then? Huntington's is a neurodegenerative disease that most recognizably causes memory issues and uncontrollable movements in the limbs. After symptom onset, somewhere between age 30 and 50, those affected by Huntington's typically live another 15 to 18 years as their symptoms worsen and there's no cure. Huntington's is passed genetically from parent to child. The gene that causes Huntington's works in such a way that if a parent has the disease, there's a 50-50 chance that their child will get it. So who's got it? And how does that help us? Who had Huntington? Huntington's cannot be passed on recessively, meaning it cannot skip a generation. In other words, if someone has a mother or father with Huntington's, but they themselves did not receive it from that parent, their children will also never have it. And so, until the early 1990s, it was impossible to test for Huntington's. Instead, symptoms would usually appear later in life. This would often be after the person affected already had children. It would then be impossible to know if their children had it, as it was a 50-50 chance. In 1993, due to determining which gene causes Huntington's, it did become possible to test children for it and know if the disease was passed on or not. For a variety of complex reasons, however, children are considered unable to consent to such a test and are therefore very rarely tested unless they're showing early symptoms. So does that mean that Ron has Huntington's? But how would that help us? But yeah, okay, the Huntington is the lead. And then, like, the children are not going to be tested unless they have symptoms. So it's got to be Ron, maybe, or Robbie, maybe. One of them, both of them. I mean, they could both have it. If one has it, 50-50. Doesn't mean that one has it, one doesn't. And then Gwen died relatively quickly after being in good health, so maybe she had Huntington's too. But unless we can find out, I don't know, that's crazy. Bye, Matha. Thanks for hanging out. And have a nice rest of your week. yeah, hope your friend does, like, everything's okay. For the most part, anyway. I mean, it sounds like it's not all great, but, A few bottles, yes, that's a good idea. Depending on what's in the bottles, at least it is. How does the hunting... We'll take a break. We'll take a break. We'll take this as our sign to take a break. Amantha leaving, that is. We'll be back in a few minutes. We'll do some more. We need to finish this today. I don't want to do another stream. I really thought we would start something new today, but we're not gonna. Because Robbie and Ron screwed everything up. I don't know how we follow up on the Huntington stuff. We'll look at the periodicals for this stuff too. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna listen to Beef Baby, and I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Is that not the right thing? Where's Beef Baby going? Oh, I'm in the wrong proof thing. I need to be down here. Right? Yes. No? I don't know. I'm confused now. But this is old proof. How do I get back to here? Where do I switch it? There we go. Got it. It's confusing though.
Why do you think that you have no friends? Why do you think that you have no friends? 'Cause every time you fish
All right, I'm back. So, the way I see it, they're like option one would be they're both Roottrees, but that does not make sense. Then this would not, it wouldn't test me like that, I think. Option two, they're both not Roottrees because Gwyn is not a Roottree. And the only reason we're not investigating Gwyn is because she's not alive. And there's no more money going to her anyway. But if Gwyn is not a Roottree, that would mean that Margolite is not a Roottree, or she's adopted. But that I feel like is too, like we can't investigate anything back there because nothing exists. Like there's no information about these people. So don't think that can be it. So the other option is that one of them is not her biological child, right? That's the only other option we have, right? Either they're both her biological children, then they're both Rootrees, assuming she's a Rootree, which I'm just gonna assume. Because everything else is too much of a headache. Because like Margolite just does not exist anywhere. Then the only way one of them is and one of them isn't is if one is adopted. But I don't know how we find that out. I don't know how we find that out. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, up until recently, I didn't know anything about hunting. In the last few months, I've gone from knowing nothing about it to learning more than any one person should ever have to. That means that she's personally affected by it, and the fact that it like helps our investigation means it's not her. It's Ron, who has Huntington's. So if Ron has Huntington's, that would mean that Gwyn would have had to have it too. How old was she? "67". That's not that old. But I mean, it's like, I don't know. It was very sudden. It wasn't like a, I don't know, relatively good health. Relatively is like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. This comes up a bunch again. Oh, there's an updated version. So, okay, this is a good lead then. Guys Like Us is a 53 comedy film in which two secretaries cut their hair short and pose as businessmen, right, to get ahead in life until one of them falls in love with their client and hilarity ensues. Starring Gwyn Roottree, Leslie Florence, Harrison Lane. Fairly popular at the box office, and made its budget back, but it was seen as somewhat formulaic, and so it didn't really stand the test of time compared to other classic films of the era. It was recently released for the first time on home video due to Roottree mania. The time it took to manufacture and ship VHS copies of Guys Like Us meant it missed the height of the craze, which only lasted a few weeks. Even so, it did sell modestly well, and there have been talks of a remake. Right. Find some information on the website about our films. They're not yet available on VHS, but it's not true anymore. Site is not very well organized. Search is broken. Harrison Lane was a television actor with a major role in Guys Like Us and some other films. His largest role before Guys Like Us was the villain in the first season of Western Frontiers. To the popularity of Guys Like Us, the studio brought Lane back to play the villain's twin brother, this time as a hero joining the protagonist. Western Frontiers has no connection to Rootrees. Harrison Lane seems to be a dead end. Did you know, trivia, Harrison Lane married his high school sweetheart after they reunited at a movie premiere? I did not. Okay, Leslie Florence has an updated article, so that's a good lead. Leslie Florence was the other actress besides Gwyn Roottree in Guys Like Us. Before Guys Like Us, she was in a few very small supporting roles, and the performance in Guys Like Us was generally thought of as quite good, especially considering she got second billing to Gwyn. Even with the success and acclaim, she retired from Hollywood almost immediately after her co-starring role. Not much was known about her until recently, when Guys Like Us was re-released right at the tail end of Roottree mania. Recently, as part of the myriad of articles and research people have done into those surrounding the Roottrees, it came out that she died of a genetic disease known as Huntington's in the late 1960s. Okay, so she's got Huntington's. Leslie Florence. So you're not a Roottree. Which is funny, because Ron was the one trying to sue Robert out of the cleansed trust, right? Because Robbie was like in jail and stuff. And like now he's out. Life comes at you fast sometimes. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so we have 4 more clues here, though. I do want them. I don't know how to find anything, though. Nothing about Leslie Florence anywhere. Doesn't make sense. I don't know what I'm looking for still. Something. I want those missing. But I don't know where to look for them. When Roottrie was often starlet, most mentions were around the time of her divorce in '58 from Wild Bill Williams. The gossip is speculative and full of tabloid stereotypes. Some would focus on the fact that when she announced her divorce, she also announced she was pregnant again. As mentioned, that the rumor is Wild Bill had multiple affairs, which left her heartbroken. I don't know. The timing seems to be weird. 57. Talked about the last name when she was pregnant. 58, she was pregnant again. It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. I don't know. But the Huntington's thing is like too much to like ignore for sure. Actually, give me Wild Bill Williams and Starlet, sure. First mentions one of his first words was on his real name, Walter Forsyth. On the portrait sheet to order ladies I'm actually taking earlier this year that a friend of favor is directing a war movie, asked me to play a small part. Met someone, spent most of the film crying. I know I tend to have a reputation, but this one's true love, and I have eyes for her. Ironically, the third is a rumor that his divorce from Gwyn was due to multiple affairs, including one with another actress. An American reader on vacation in Paris claims to have overheard Val Bill and Gwyn arguing in public while she was holding a baby and visibly pregnant. Not long after Gwyn announced she was divorcing Wild Bill, and also that she was pregnant again, giving the rumor more credibility. So did Wild Bill have an affair with the other actress? The actress died. But that's not yet, is it? When did she die? The timeline seems so wrong. But she was pregnant and holding the baby. Like invisibly pregnant, holding a baby, that's tough to pull off. I mean, like baby is like relative, I guess. How long is a baby for? But like timing wise, it feels like that's too close together. Because I would also lead, like, you know, to the conclusion that one is adopted. When did she die? In the late 60s. So she didn't die, and that's why they adopted the child. Did she just like gave him the child? The son? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think our conclusions are right. It says she died from Huntington's. Yeah, so the Huntington's thing makes sense. So but then why did Gwyn have the baby already in 57, 58, when the whole divorce from Wild Bill happened? When like the other woman, the biological mother, was still alive for like 10 more years until the late 60s. So she didn't want the kid and just gave it to the father, presumably, and he just gave it to his wife? That's just weird. And then the biological mother lived for 10 more years and then died? Maybe because of the disease, the mother couldn't take of. That's fair. Maybe she couldn't take care of the baby. Maybe she had symptoms. Yeah, that's a fair point. And like, you know, they couldn't predict it, but like, yeah, if they diagnosed it and she knew she didn't have like long to live, it might have been like, you know, you'll have a better life. Definitely have a better life as a Roottrie for a while anyway, with all the money coming in. So yeah, I don't know. Good. Yeah, I think I think the conclusions are right. I just don't know how we find 3 more clues. And who else had clues left? Min Lang had 2 left, I think, which is crazy to me. And you had 1 more or something? Who's Ryan and Cork? Okay. Ryan Cork is an unremarkable law firm based in North Carolina named after its senior partners Winston, Ryan, and Gregory Cork. The firm mostly handles local cases and recently represented Anonymum. Their website has a section about the case, including a scan of the DNA test results that proved Jane Doe Roottree was not a Roottree. This is a DNA test you got from the website of the law firm Ryan and Cork. The test says there was virtually no chance that Anonymum's daughter Courtney May was a Roottrie. It lists the DNA from a Jane Doe was tested against the DNA of Bonnie Kellogg Nee Hudson, Guy's twin sister. Ryan and Cork, who were representing Anonymum, have confirmed that the sample they sent to the Roottree was definitely Courtney May's hair. The test is from a company called DNA Deco, and the doctor has circled the results and signed the paper. That's not what I meant to click. This is what I meant to click. 0.5% match, not related. The DNA from the alleged relative was compared to the tested child. Based on the results, the probability of relatedness is 0.5%. The likelihood the candidates are related is approximately 2,000 to 1. This is Adrian Rowland, PhD. Do we think the company is legit, or is the company also fake? DNA Tico, pronounced Dynate-ico. That's wrong. is a DNA testing company. DNA testing is a relatively new phenomenon that allows scientific laboratories to prove a possible family relationship between two people. It's fairly cutting edge. The method by which they test samples has only become standard in the last decade, as of the early 90s. According to their site, genealogical was responsible for the DNA test. It proved Felix Fellows was a Roottrie, and even use it as an example of how a DNA test looks. They use it to provide some information about their process. Whenever they take a sample in person, they put the name of the person on the test according to their legal ID, which is why it says David instead of Felix. Because Guy Hudson is dead, and there's no known DNA source for Guy, the tested Felix's hair was a hair sample sent from the Roottrees. It's listed as chain doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Roottree Company let them know it was from Bonnie Kellogg, Guy Hudson's sister. This is why it says it is a paternal aunt test. The left and right sets of numbers are essentially signatures that perfectly match the DNA of the two people in question and nobody else. The way the test works is that if certain parts of the signature are shared, then it's very likely two people are related. As far as you can tell, DNA Decode is a legitimate company that don't seem to have any reason to create fake results or hide the truth. Okay, so the company is legit. They just sent the wrong hair. This is a DNA test you got from DNA Decode's website. According to the website, it's a famous test. The proof Felix Fellows was a Roottree receives his permission to post it as their example for potential clients. The site says there's a 99% chance David Fellows is related to the alleged aunt who is listed as chain doe. As far as you can tell, DNA Decode is a neutral third party that has been used by plenty of respectable companies. Can I wait? They had to find David's real aunt to do it? Yes, but he was in foster care, so how did they pull that off? Fourteen, 12, 13, 7, 8. It's different numbers, but I'm not sure. I want to look at them. He lived with his mom for 16 years, not like he was a baby. But was that his, like... I mean, they're presenting it as if it's his biological mother, but is that true? Because we also learned from the fountain thing that he was in the foster care thing. So I don't know if that was his... We don't know. I don't know. It's very hard to know what's true. Whatever. I don't know. Like if you say, whatever, FGA for chain doe, the aunt is 2022. Does that exist on the other one too? 1820. So those are different. Those are different. So that's not the same. How did no one notice that? So this Bonnie Kellogg and the other Bonnie Kellogg are not the same. But I still don't understand how it makes sense for this to be the way it is. Foster till 18. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how foster care works. And when, like, anything was. Because we have, like, we have so few timelines. It's hard.